Tamaki's quirk has got to be a fan favorite among readers. I mean, how can it not be? He gets to eat shit and then embody that type of food. As far as we know, he's only been doing this with animals that belong on a plate. One question that should be brought about is Tamaki's quirk limited? What I mean by limited is there a limit to what he can embody through eating? So far, we've only seen him gain the power of certain types of food, specifically animals. The only occasions when Tamaki's ever used his quirk on screen was during the time when he handled a few thugs, using qualities of an octopus, clams, chicken, and some more that I cannot remember at the top of my head. And the second wasn't actually in combat. He has displayed to Mirio that his quirk had been restored after taking a hit by that anti-quirk bullet. So we don't really know what Tamaki is truly capable of doing if he's pushed to his limits. I think that very soon in the manga we're going to see a good display of Tamaki's abilities. In the latest chapter we did see his mentor give him a swordfish food, but we've yet to see him use this power in action. However, there's one thing regarding his limit that I'm very curious about, which is whether Tamaki's power is limited to living things. This would make a lot of sense, especially if you bring logic into the whole discussion. It's very possible that his power is in fact based on genetics, meaning that if he eats the meat of a stag, he's naturally going to receive some stag DNA, while his quirk will absorb it automatically. This is probably how his quirk works on a more detailed level. I could go even deeper, but I don't think many would follow, and to be honest, since I'm not exactly a scientist myself, I wouldn't understand that shit either. So let's just leave it at that. Now, as I said, we haven't truly seen Tamaki's limits, since he hasn't really been in a situation where he'd have to unleash his full power. Much like how we haven't seen Mirio's full power, and also not that girl who's guiding Uraraka and Sue. We've really only gotten a basic understanding of their quirks at this point in the manga, but potentially already in this arc, since this is the arc where both the top 3 of UA and a pretty big villainous organization are heavily focused on, we might get to see them fight seriously. So most likely we're going to see the top 3 going all out at some point. As we know, there is this new unit at the opposing side called the 8 Expendables. There's no way in hell we're not going to see some heated action with all of these 8, leaving room for the top 3 and also their underlings to some degree. I mean, not to sound like the girls are useless, because they're not, but compared to Deku and Kirishima, Uraraka and Sue aren't really on the same level when it comes to head-on fights. So going back to Tamaki, I think, and I do also believe that a lot of other people will agree that the top 3 of UA will ascend to this series' own branch of the elite. I mean, right now we have the pro heroes at the top, but I think it's pretty obvious that the younger generation is taking over pretty rapidly, especially since it has been mentioned that Mirio is basically on their level already. So I think Tamaki will be hot on his heels in terms of power and skill. One thing to note about Tamaki is that his personality is holding him back a lot. And what we're looking at is potentially a huge character development waiting to happen. Tamaki will probably become more confident as the series progresses, and with confidence his abilities in combat will increase on their own. Well, that, and the more he uses his quirk, his sheer limits will expand to new horizons. Right now we've seen him turn one body part into one specific food at once, but that could probably change in the future, allowing him to maybe use, let's say for example, octopus from more than just his hands at once. This is the kind of character development I'm expecting to see from Tamaki in the future, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see what the future holds. Well, I'm going to end off the video here. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. What do you think of Tamaki's quirk? Personally, it's my favorite quirk in the whole series by a long shot. And as always, if you did, please like this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new to my channel. This has been your favorite host Perm, and I will see you soon.